Hey everybody, and welcome to another Wowza demo. My name is Justin Miller, and I am here with Tim Doherty. Tim, are you
Hey,
ready to show
everybody.
us some amazing stuff today?
Absolutely. Amazing. I'll shoot for amazing, Justin. We're going to talk about recording live streams with Wowza Streaming Engine. This is a topic that comes up across the broad array of Wowza customers we serve: event broadcasters, software developers, security and surveillance, medical people like to record their live events. And it has been a part of Wowza Streaming Engine, even Wowza Media Server back in the more legacy days, where we've had it in for quite a while. So it's kind of a revisiting of the topic. And today I'd like to show you how it works in the UI,
All right, I
and
think you're
also
going to
just
show
give
us
you
a couple options, right?
a couple options. I'll show you how it works in Wowza Streaming Engine Manager, which is informally referred to as our user interface or our UI, and then I'll open up a API client and just show you a little bit about what's going on under the hood if you choose to use a programmatic means to record with Wowza. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
All right. Well, let's jump into Wowza Streaming Engine and take a look at first some of those options to the standard graphic user interface.
Definitely. Yeah, and if there's any question beyond this session, which is really meant to inform and provide some demonstration, if you would like to get in and apply this on your own implementation, you can see that I'm right here on wowza.com and I have the authority on recording right here. This is the technical article. You can find it by going to a search engine and typing record with Wowza, or just go to our Wowza website and you can be directed to it. Same here with the API. I'm referring to the API throughout this discussion, and this is actually in our API example section of our website. So, yeah, Justin, to get started, let's definitely just take a quick look in Wowza Streaming Engine Manager and get a feel for how this works. So, right now you can say I'm logged in. I'm this is the server screen in Wowza Streaming Engine Manager, and I'm going to be interacting with the applications. You may have a freshly installed version of Wowza or instance of Wowza, and you will see when you first log into the manager that you have a live application. I have a lot of other ones here as well. And then you have a VOD application, and we're going to, in this session, interact with both. One thing that you want to do when you're creating an application and you're specifically going to be recording is to be mindful of where those recordings are going to reside after the recording is completed. So as a reference, I'm going to create an application, and I'm going to call it Tim Record 5000. This is just a test app. And this is the standard. Do you want to package it this way? The variety of options when you create a Wowza application. The one I want to focus on is specifically the location. And you can see by default, it goes to the Wowza install directory content folder. That's what this variable is. So effectively, if you didn't pay attention to where the video is recorded, it's going to be recorded in the content folder. Now, since my Wowza streaming engine is a little cluttered because I do all kinds of things with it, I don't want to use my content folder because I just want to show you specifically the files that are recording. So I'm going to modify the directory. I'm going to copy this mapping here, and I'm going to put it in as a custom. The cool thing is that Wowza already put that in there. And then I'm going to do / recording, because that's a special subfolder for this session. So that's one option there. And then one caveat, one little warning, is if you would like to use the API, or if you'd like to use the live stream record manual start and stop of recordings, which has a lot of value, you do not want to hit record all incoming streams right there. What that does is it records all the streams that are coming in. So as soon as you start your encoder, and as soon as you stop your encoder, that entire duration is recorded. What we're covering today is the live stream record module,
If you
which,
could go back for a second, though, I'm sorry.
please, yes,
I was just going to say under edit, I noticed that there's also that option instead of use default, there's application specific directory.
sure.
So
Yeah.
it does have an option to go by default to a directory named after the live application. But you've gone into use the following directory and just said specifically, I want it under record. And I'm sorry, now that it made you click on edit, I see it disappeared. I assume if you just cancel
Well,
out
I
it.
hit cancel earlier, and I was just doing it as a demonstration, but
Oh,
that's why
okay.
I love working with you, Justin. You pay attention to detail, and you're 100% correct. I could have saved 120 seconds of video by just saying click application specific. But yeah, that's another nice convenience for sure. It automatically creates a subfolder in the content folder. So yeah, excellent, excellent observation. Thank you for that. So before I move on and just do a quick demo on this, live stream record, recording the live streams. This is for if you're an event producer. And let's say your event starts at 3 p.m. Excuse me, your event starts at 7 p.m., but you're doing a sound check, a dress rehearsal, or just testing everything out, and you're starting at 3 p.m. You don't want to record all that. So what the recording option does is give you the ability to press or insert a command, start the recording. You can split the recording, and then you can end the recording. So it's an on-off switch basically for the recording capability. And let's do it. Let's go ahead and dive right into doing this demo. So I'm going to jump over to the application I created earlier for recording. And the first thing I need is obviously a stream to send into my server. So I'm going to move over here to Wowza Clearcaster. Wowza Clearcaster is our esteemed recording orchestration platform that connects to I think, a world-class encoding appliance. And you can record everything and control everything from the cloud. And that's where I am now. I'm trying to not go into a demo of the Clearcaster, but I'm happy to use my own products and demos like this. By the way, one thing you'll note inside Clearcaster, it has a recording capability as well, but it does what I said earlier. It records the entire duration of the stream. So using Wowza Streaming Engine to record incidentally is going to be very, very convenient because you're recording what you want to record.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and start this stream. Justin, how am I doing over here in the Clearcaster? Anything you might want to add in this? Any comments?
I honestly want to avoid talking about the Clearcaster simply because we're focused on engine right now, and talking about Wowza Streaming Engine is a little more important. Obviously, there are many encoders out there that you can use, and some of them allow you to record, some of them don't. And that's why it's great to have it in Engine. Not only that, but as you're going to show later, and I'll just mention it now, you're on your media server. It's recording to your media server, and
Mm-hmm.
so you can then have it be available to view automatically afterwards. And you'll talk about
Definitely. Yes. That's a really good point, is having the ability to immediately view the video online from an MP4 source as soon as the recording's done. That's a strong media server function. So um, yeah, so here we are in the recording app, incoming streams. You can see that the Clearcaster is connected. This is a shortcut to record. So if I hit this red button, it gives me the option to record. But I'm going to choose to click the blue text here, and I can see a little bit more of the vital statistics on the stream. Specifically, I like to check and see how much data is coming in. And I've got a generous amount of data coming in at probably 1080p. I didn't check. But I'm going to hit record. This is how you do it. And right here, you could just hit record, and it starts recording. So it's that easy. So I'll hit record. I could hit record here if I want to, but I want to just quickly cover the segmentation. Inside here, there's the option for size, duration, and schedule. So if you want to segment every 10 megabytes or every 100 megabytes, it'll create a file in that interval. Or on a schedule, every 10 minutes, every half hour, every 1 hour, it'll create a split in that recording, and you can control the size of the file. So that's a consideration
why
there.
would you want to automatically segment things like that?
Well, there's a variety of reasons. I think the most logical one is just file size. Let's say you are a professional baseball park, and I won't mention their name, but we're being used in a particular large stadium where they're recording 100% of spring training for every position on the baseball field: first base, second base, third base, pitcher mound, home plate. They're recording all of that all the time for 12 hours a day. And you don't want a 3 terabyte MP4 file.
Right.
So every 30 minutes, it creates a file and puts a little name on it with the label and
Gotcha.
the time, etc. So, you end up with a little more of a manageable
Right.
library of recordings.
Also for probably hard storage. I mean, I've worked in places in the past where everything needs to be stored and backed up
Mhm.
somewhere. And so,
Yeah.
probably, let's say they're dealing with SD cards, for example. Maybe
Hmm.
each one is 128 gigabytes. So, they segment them that way so they can immediately back it up and store it somewhere, even while they're continuing to record.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's also a module we have that you can turn on called File Mover, and you can, when a recording is completed, it'll move it somewhere based on how you define it. So if you're segmenting, you might have a small hard drive on the server, but every 100 megabytes, for example, Wowza can move it over to network attached storage, for example, and that saves you from filling up a hard drive. So there's a lot of strategic use for segmentation.
Awesome.
Yeah, and there's some naming convention here. The default is stream name, recording start time, and then segment number. So that's something that is specific to the incidental recording that we're doing here. If you record all incoming streams, they just put segment numbers on there. So there are some options here, and these are all, of course, deeply configurable with the REST API. But having them right here in the Streaming Engine Manager is really nice.
I have a quick
So
question. Sorry,
yeah,
right here.
no, go for it.
I see under the path it does show content slash recording.
Mhm.
I thought you didn't save that for some reason before.
Well, this remember I switched over to a different application.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did. I had the application already created. Earlier, I was just creating application and going through the creation steps just for as a figure, as an example.
No
So
problem. Makes sense.
good catch, though. Good catch. So I'm going to record, and it's obvious that it's recording because it says stop recording. And if I happen to browse my incoming streams, I can see that the recording is in progress. If I
Okay.
jump over to the server itself and I actually list that file, and you can see that I'm inside this directory. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the same directory we saw in the recording module. You can see there's two files in here: the temporary file, which is the data that's accumulating from the recorder, and then this is the container file. So when the recording's done, this file should go away, and then this will become your what we call VOD asset. So that's just a little bit of under the hood what's going on the server, at least at the file system level. Back inside Wowza, you know, I, I'll make my window a little bit smaller. Let me make sure I clicked on it. There we go. You can see that there's actually a stop button here. I have the window optimized for recording, so
I
it's
see
kind of
next
weird.
to it. There's also, is that the split option next to it?
Good, good catch. Yeah, that is a split option. So you do have the option in the interface to split the recording. If you want to have a little more of a deeper, more data, a broader set of data while it's recording and streaming, you do have the split option in here, which again, if you're inside incoming streams and you click on the blue text, brings up a little more detail. You can stop the recording or split the recording.
Can we see what happens when we split the recording?
You bet. I'll split it right now. So it warns me, do you really want to do this? I say yes. And it obviously split the recording. And then I'll jump over here to terminal and we'll list the contents of that folder again. And you can see that it created a _0. So that's the new file. And then the temp file's been named. And then if I wanted to, I could actually play back and interact with the original file, the
Oh, okay.
Clearcaster that had before.
I
So in
think you
fact, let's
showed me earlier where it was saying if it splits it, how it's going to name it like this with the _0.
yes, there is an option in there to dictate what that file convention is. I would encourage someone who's setting that up in detail just to completely go through our API documentation and the recorder documentation. It's very specific in this article. In this setting, it's not really appropriate to go into all of these details, but it does explain the segmentation options and the naming options and the versioning
Okay.
options, and
I'm not sure if you're
kind of
showing
goes
that
on and on.
now or if we haven't switched
Thank you.
screens.
Sorry, what I was showing was this recording article that I originally introduced at the start of this session,
Okay.
and then I'll try to scroll down slowly so that it doesn't make anybody have motion sickness. But there's a lot of information here that's very specific on file versioning, the versioning template. Interacting with it and testing it is the best way to learn it, in my opinion. So definitely refer to the article if you're interested in how your files are versioning out. So
Well, I think
you
watching this video is also a good way to learn
well,
about everything we're doing.
what I'm trying to do, Justin, is keep this quick, fast overview. But one thing that's unique to Wowza Streaming Engine is how so many, literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of use cases and customers have used this. So there's always a different little path that you can follow down, and they're actually kind of fun to investigate. So that's essentially it. If I want to play that stream, I do have Theo Player running. Let me reset my SSL certificate. So you can see that this is my domain and port, my video on demand application. Remember, I was referring to the VOD application earlier. And then I'm going to just grab the clearcaster.mp4, because if I go back to the file system, you can see there's Clearcaster MP4 ready to play. So if I hit load, should be able to just play that. Yeah, and there's the recording of the stream that was coming in earlier from the Clearcaster, and it looks like it's 1 minute and 48 seconds long. So
this is the clip that when we split,
it is.
It was created and it's already stored, ready to go. Now, in order to see it this way, though, that VOD application has to be set up for this, right? Because I see, as you were just pointing out the URL, you showed it said /VOD/clearcaster.mp4.
Yeah, and the detail in that, I just went into Wowza Manager, clicked on VOD. You want to make sure that the directory for the VOD file is set up for the recording subfolder that I'm using for the other application.
Gotcha.
And if you need to do that, you can hit edit. You had mentioned earlier, that there's application specific options. But for recording, you can put any file path that you have. What you use a Windows nomenclature, a Linux nomenclature.
Okay.
So yeah, you've got total control over that. But in this case, the VOD application is set to that recording subfolder.
Okay. So as long as the content directory is set up correctly, it can find the file. You don't need to do anything else. It's ready to go. You don't need to create a playlist or anything.
Not at all. The magic is in the player requests, and the reason I'm using Theo Player's page is this is what the player is requesting: the location of the server and the port, the application VOD, which is exactly this right here, VOD, and then the name of the stream or the file. Now the correct syntax is to put MP4 : in front of the file name, but obviously it works either way. But the correct way to do it, I just caught myself. You're supposed to put the MP4 prefix in there. And I need to reset my SSL certificate. It has been a rough day with me and SSL. And so there we are.
Security can be like that, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you want something secure, and
yeah. So Justin, that's the quick overview from the user interface. I'd like to take, and I want to do this in about 2 minutes, just really briefly, remind everyone, reinform people that you can do everything here from an API.
Right.
And the article here, it's if you were to go to a search engine and type in Wowza record API, you'd probably find yourself in this article, which is under our REST API examples, create and manage stream recorders by using the Wowza Streaming Engine REST API. And I'm going to slowly, with the intent to not invoke motion sickness. There's some example here of curl commands, get a list of recorders. That's the recorders that are happening right now. Maybe you have 10 streams and 5 of those 10s are recording. You could get a list of it. This is the output of that. There's also how to create a recording, and there's a variety of options. Split a recording, which is what we did earlier, and then stop a recording. So your basic recording functions. And I went ahead and put these into an API client called Postman. You should be able to see that right now. So I have Wowza Streaming Engine already set up with variables. And if you're familiar with Wowza, I've got restart application, get my incoming streams. So if I hit send on incoming streams, I can see that I have the Clearcaster stream still coming in. And also you can see in here it says is recording set true. That means it's actually recording right now because we split it and it's still recording. If I list the recordings, which is that command I just showed you in that article, earlier I had run it and there weren't any recordings happening. Now I'm going to run it. And you can see that there's a recording called Clearcaster that's taking place. And you can see the output from that, which is really useful for people that are integrating Wowza with a online video platform. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording that's happening right now. Just hit send. So that stopped the recording. Just for fun, I'll jump back over to the Wowza Streaming Engine Manager, go into my recording app, go into incoming streams. You can see that it's not recording anymore. So that's kind of the visual check there. Let's start a recording. And again, this is the body of the request. There's the URL. So these variables are a part of Postman, which is actually a really cool aspect of this client because you can go from server to server and just change out your variables. But this is the URL post. So it's posting this URL, and then it's putting these options in along with it. So I'm going to start the recording here. It says true recorder created. If I go to list the recordings, I can see that the recording is happening. So again, interacting with the raw data that's coming in from the server. I'll jump over here, take a look at what's going on in on the server itself. I can see that there's some files that are actively being recorded. So there's some stuff going on. I'll go ahead and go over here and split again.
Can we verify that it's an engine that it's recording?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's always fun. So I'll refresh that, and you can see that the recording is in progress. So you can see that everything is aligning, and the commands are coming in, and everything's making sense. I can split the recording as much as I want, so I'm going to do like 4 splits. Just have a few files in there. If I jump over to terminal, that's what the directory looked like before. I'll list it again. You can see that a whole bunch of files have been segmented off. So, interacting with the API, it gives you a sense of control. I'm going to stop the recording here. It's just an example of how you can effectively integrate the API into a social media app. People that are recording live video for events. I've actually set these up using cron, where you tell a Wowza server to start recording at 9 a.m. for a Sunday morning worship service for a house of worship, and stop at 10 a.m. So there's automation, database interaction, application logic. There's just so much you could do with the API, and I know that's a whole other conversation. But
no, but it's definitely a good conversation. I mean, I admittedly, you're talking about this in terms of live presentations, but I also think of it in terms of, for example, right now we're using, for example, Zoom to record this. But if we wanted to use tools that are going through Wowza Streaming Engine and maybe utilizing WebRTC to have a conversation between 2 people, you could use this to start and stop it through whatever web interface you've created.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's also important to note that I could have dozens of streams in here and be starting and stopping the recording at will on any one of them. So it really is the driver's seat for the recording component inside Wowza Streaming Engine. And we would like it to be used as somewhat a blank canvas. Take the API, integrate it into your application, or use it as a production tool. Log into the Streaming Engine Manager and start and stop your recordings. You can see that it's very easy to do. Splitting the recordings, segmenting the recordings. There's just so much you can do with the recording capability in Wowza. So I hope that was a good demo for everybody. And we covered a couple cool things. And there's more to cover on recording with Wowza. I think in the past, Justin, you and I did a session on the DVR clip extraction, which is a lot more advanced than what we covered here. And then I think we'd also like to cover working on the ability to record all streams in aggregate and funnel specific naming conventions there. So we'll cover that maybe in another session. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think this was a lot of fun, kind of revisiting our recording capability with Wowza Engine.
Yeah, no, thank you for showing this. Definitely appreciate it. For everyone else, please check out those help documents if you haven't looked at them already. And thanks for watching, and happy streaming.
Thank you.